In today's episode, we are going to talk about time and space. Time and space, in absolute terms, have no value. But in our day to day living, everything is based on time and space. You move from one place to another, that is space. We are always in movement, whether mentally or physically. Then everything from the time we wake up, even there is a wake up call for us. We wake up at time, carry our duties and responsibilities in time, and we sleep in time, have our food in time. Everything is based on time. But it has no absolute value whatsoever. We'll see this in this topic, time space. It is utterly beyond our power to measure the changes of things by time. Time is an abstraction at which we arrive by means of the changes of the things, made because we are not restricted to any one definite measure, all being interconnected. This is a quote from Ernst Mach. And there is a famous author, Bobo, who has written a lot about time. I'll give the references in the end. Now we'll start seeing his quotes. Unlike the emperor dressed in nothing, time is nothing dressed in cloths. I can only describe the cloths. Intervals of time do not pre-exist, but are created by what universe does. As Newton himself defines it, absolute time is by no means independent of the world. It is a specific motion, the rotation of the earth. If nothing happened, if nothing changed, then time would stop. For time is nothing but change. It is change that we perceive occurring all around us, not time. Put simply, time does not exist. So, time and space are actually, earlier I told you, it is a movement from one place to another for space. And for time, the same interval, the difference of the change is time. If there is no change, then there is no time and space. So Vedic view, this is by Subhash Kak, we will see that. Time, infinite consciousness held in itself, the notion of a unit of time equal to 1 millionth of twinkling of an eye. And from this evolved the time scale, right up to an epoch consisting of several revolutions of 4 ages, which is lifespan of one cosmic creation. Infinite consciousness itself is uninvolved in this, for it is devoid of rising and setting, which are essential to all time scales. And it is devoid at the beginning, middle, and end. Then space. About space we will see this. We have seen something about time. There are 3 types of space: the psychological space, the physical space, and the infinite space of consciousness. The infinite space of undivided consciousness is that which exists in all, inside and outside. The infinite space of divided consciousness is that which created divisions of time, which pervades all beings. The physical space is that in which the elements exist. The later two are not independent of the first. And there is a quantum view about the whole thing. We will see the quantum theory. Quantum theory tells us that physical processes occur in discrete, quantized steps or levels. The laws that govern the quantum differ strangely from the predictable reality of our everyday classical world. At small scales and sometimes at large scales, the bizarre laws of quantum mechanics reign. For example, atoms and subatomic quantum particles can exist in 2 or more states or places simultaneously, more like waves than particles, and existing as multiple coexisting possibilities known as quantum superposition, governed by a quantum wave function. Another quantum property is non-local entanglement, in which components of a spatially separated system remain unified and connected. This is a quote from Penrose in 1989. Penrose defined our self-collapsible superpositions due to separations in space-time geometry, and moments of consciousness by E is equal to h by t. E is the gravitational self-energy of an object or its equivalent space-time geometry, and separated from itself, h is Planck's constant over 2 pi, and t is the time at which occurs. E may be calculated based on the factors including 1. The object mass, the object level at which the object separates from itself, that is its entire mass, into individual atoms, atomic nuclei or subatomic particles, and third, the spatial separation distance, how far the object or its space-time geometry separates from itself. Consciousness occurring is equal to E is equal to h by t, normally at 40 Hz. Each conscious moment involving roughly 1 millionth of brain microtubules could transition to higher frequencies at say 10 kHz, megahertz, gigahertz and terahertz levels. Tibetan monks reach 80 Hz gamma synchrony during meditation. These would involve greater and greater proportions of brain neurons and microtubules. These levels would involve respectively 111 zeros. And for gigahertz consciousness, the entire brain, thus altered states of consciousness, may involve transcendence to deeper, more intense levels of experience, deeper levels of reality. Then we will see what Stephen Hawking, the famous Stephen Hawking, who is no more, we will see what he has told. In 1929, Edwin Hubble made the landmark observation that whenever you look, distant galaxies are moving rapidly away from us. In other words, the universe is expanding. This means that at earlier times, objects would have been closer together. In fact, it seems that there was a time about 10 or 20,000 million years ago when they were all at exactly the same place, and when therefore the density of the universe was infinite. The light that we see from a distant galaxy left them millions of years ago, and in the case of the most distant object that we have seen, light left some 8,000 million years ago. Thus, when we look at the universe, we are seeing it as it was in the past. British mathematician and physicist Roger Penrose in 1965, using the way light cones behave in general relativity, together with the fact that gravity is always attractive, he showed that a star collapsing under its own gravity is trapped in a region whose surface eventually shrinks to zero size. And since the surface of the region shrinks to zero, so too must its volume. All the matter in the star will be compressed into a region of zero volume. So the density of the matter and the curvature of the space-time become infinite. In other words, one has singularity contained within the region of time-space known as black hole. Then we will see what Ramana Maharshi says, some spiritualists. Visitor, which time is the most suitable for meditation? Ramana, what is time? Visitor, tell me what it is. Ramana, time is only an idea. There is only the reality. Whatever you think it is, it looks like that. If you call it time, it is time. If you call it existence, it is existence, and so on. After calling it time, you divide it into days and nights, months, years, hours, minutes, etc. Time is immaterial for the path of knowledge. But some of these rules and discipline are good for beginners. Then we will see what J.Krishnamurti says about time. Time is a very strange phenomenon. Space and time are one. The one is not without the other. Time to us is extraordinarily important, and each one gives to it its own particular significance. Time to the savage has hardly any meaning, but to the civilized it is immense significance. The savage forgets from day to day, but if the educated man did that, he would be put in an asylum or would lose his job. To a scientist, time is one thing, and to the layman it is another. To a historian, time is the study of the past. To a man in the stock market, it is a ticker. To a mother, it is the memory of her son. To an exhausted man, it is rest in the shade. Each one translates it according to his particular needs and satisfactions, shaping it to suit his own cunning mind. Yet we cannot do without time if you are to live at all. Chronological time is an essential as seasons, but there is psychological time, or it is merely deceptive convenience of the mind. Surely there is only chronological time, and all else is deception. There is time to grow and time to die, time to snow, time to sow, and time to reap. But it is not psychological time. The process of becoming utterly false. What is time to you? Do you think of time? Are you aware of time? It is not thought that it is not thought a product of time. Knowledge is the continuation of time. Time is continuation. Experience is knowledge, and time is the continuation of experience as memory. Time as continuation is abstraction, and speculation is ignorance. Experience is memory, the mind. The mind is the machine of time. The mind is the past. Thought is ever of the past. The past is the continuation of knowledge. Knowledge is ever of the past. Knowledge is never out of time, but always in time and of time. This continuation of memory, knowledge is consciousness. Experience is always in the past. It is the past. This past in conjunction with present is moving to the future. The future is the past, modified perhaps, but still the past. This whole process is thought, the mind. The thought cannot function in any field other than that of time. Thought may speculate upon themselves, but it will be shown as it will be its own projection. All speculation is ignorance. Then why do you even mention timeless? Can the timeless ever be known? Can it ever be recognized as timeless? This is a big question. Whatever is known is time, the unknown is timeless. So these are critical areas, very deep. There are a lot of books on this time space. It's not just a hearsay that time space is an abstract. No, there are a lot of books, scientific books, nature of time, end of time, concepts of space-time, quantum soul by Deepak Chopra. And all those references I am giving in the end. Please stay with me. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.